You all set? Tom, you all set? Mike? You
Yep.
all set? Everybody's all set? Okay, I'm gonna read the preamble, which has changed, okay? Can I do it, Joshua? Am I all set? Josh?
Yes, everything's good.
As chair of the Alton Planning Board, due to COVID-19 and the virus crisis, in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 20-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically, and these reasons shall be reflected in the minutes. The town of Alton has moved from in-person meetings to remote audio participation meetings until further notice, and therefore there is no physical location to observe, listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. We strongly encourage everyone attend our meetings remotely. Should you have a need to attend in person, we will make a remote location available upon a reservation request by you to this office, no later than 2 business days in advance of the meeting. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are, A, providing public access to the meeting by telephone. Members of the public wishing to attend this meeting electronically may call the conference call number from home. Follow the instructions listed under, quote, news and announcement on the town's website, www.alton.nh.gov. 2, providing additional public access by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing the Zoom platform for the electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through the link that is listed under, quote, news and announcements on the town website. C, providing public notice of the necessary information for assessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to abutters and the public on how to access the meeting via telephone conference and by using Zoom. D, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting that a member of the public wishes to speak or be recognized during the public input at the public meeting. If you are calling in by a conference call, press the star sign and then 9 to raise your hand. Speak to the board. If you are using a computer, use the raise
Hey, Josh,
hand
Tom,
button.
do you see, I show on the screen, I see the floor and everything.
Several members of the public may be conferenced in, and requests to speak will be handled sequentially, one at a time. The Zoom moderator will allow you to speak when the board opens public input. E, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with the access. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting, please call this number, 603-507-1002. I repeat, 603-507-1002. F, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting remotely, and there are difficulties with the town's equipment, the following will take place. For applications, meeting will be adjourned, rescheduled to Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. And 2, for the 2021 proposed zoning amendments, second public hearing, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, both meetings starting at 6 p.m. at the Alton Town Hall. You may call the planning department at 603-875-2162. I repeat, 603-875-2162 between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, for more information and for the dial-in code meeting ID for each planning board meeting. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking the roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is also required under the right to know law. Okay, so may I have a roll call attendance?
John Dever, code official, present.
Is there anybody with you, John?
I am with you, Frank.
Thank you.
Paul Manzioni, member.
Is there anyone with you?
No.
Frank Rich, chairman, and there's no one with me.
Paul LaRochelle, selectman representative and clerk, and no one's with me.
Tom?
Yeah, you have Tom Lee, and I'm here by myself, vice chair.
Mike Hepworth, alternate member. No one here with me.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the call to order at 6 p.m. We have the introduction of the board members. That was done. Can I get a motion, since we have one of our members missing, can I get a motion to appoint an alternate?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Paul Manzioni. I would make a motion that we appoint Mike Hepworth as a member. He's the alternate member, that we appoint him as member for this evening's meeting.
I'll second.
Seconded by Paul LaRochelle. Okay. Any discussion? Having seen no discussion, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Okay, Mike, you're in,
All righty.
okay? You sure you're ready?
I don't know. I'll hold on.
Okay, all right. I know Jeopardy's on, and I know that that could be a problem for you, okay? All right. Statement of the appeal process. The purpose of this hearing is to allow anyone concerned with an appeal to the Zoning Board of Adjustments to present evidence for or against the appeal. This evidence may be in the form of an opinion rather than an established fact. However, it should support the grounds which the board must consider when making a determination. The purpose of the hearing is not to gauge the sentiment of the public or to hear personal reasons why individuals are for or against an appeal, but all the facts and opinions based on reasonable assumptions will be considered. In the case of an appeal for a variance, the board must determine facts bearing upon the 5 criteria as set forth in the state statutes. For a special exception, the board must ascertain whether each of the standards set forth in the zoning ordinance have been or will be met. Okay. I need to get, okay, so the approval of the agenda, and we have case Z21-1, Piper Doobie, LLC / Keith Doobie owner, map 2, lot 21, variance rural zone, 800 Suncook Valley Road, and a variance is requested for Article 300, Section 300B7B of the zoning ordinance to permit an accessory dwelling unit to exceed 35% of the total finished floor space of the principal dwelling unit by approximately 56 square feet. Mr. Piper,
Mr. Chairman,
You have to,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented this evening.
thank you. Okay. Approval of the agenda.
I would second that motion only for the purpose of the discussion, and then ask, are there any changes to the agenda?
no changes.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Please interrupt me the next time when I'm going on.
So shall we take a vote on the motion, Mr.
Okay, can
Chairman?
we take a vote on the motion?
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth,
Mike?
aye.
Thank you. That's the approval of the agenda. Now to new applications. Case Z21-1, Piper Doobie LLC, Keith Doobie, owner, map 2, lot 21. They're in for a variance. Is requested from Article 300, Section 319B-7B of the zoning ordinance to permit an accessory dwelling unit to exceed to 35% of the total finished floor space of a principal dwelling unit by approximately 56 square feet. Mr. Piper, are you there? Okay, Mr. Piper, we can't hear you. Okay, but we're going to review your application to make sure that everything is in the application, but
His microphone looks off.
your microphone is off. Okay?
All right, I'm here.
Great, thank you.
This Keith Doobie.
Hi, Keith, how are you? Thank
Good
you.
yourselves?
How you doing,
Good.
Pete?
Okay, all right, can I, gentlemen,
I'll make a motion to accept and approve accept the application for case number Z21-01 as complete.
I have a second.
I would second that. And in the discussion portion, I would ask, I thought the application was complete. Everything seems to be here, narrative, abutter list, everything. The only question I have is with regard to this plan, the plat, if you will, or it's an engineering plan. And it's just me, probably not the document, but rather me trying to interpret it. I'm just wondering whether this plan depicts the structure that we'll be dealing with in this application, and depicts it on the lot as where it's situated on the lot, because I'm just confused with regard to the drawing as to proposed, oh, that's the leach field. So I just don't know whether this plan as drawn is for the original. I understand there was an original house. Now that's not going to happen, and they want to put the space, make an accessory unit above the garage. But I'm just wondering if that's depicted on this plan.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
If you see the leach field,
Yes.
just kitty to the right.
Okay.
Up, there's the building is there.
Right. It shows it right there.
See it, Paul? It's right here, Paul.
Okay, the center lines, okay, thank you. So I've seconded the motion to accept it as complete.
Okay, any discussion? We've had discussion, okay? Just to clarify, you see where it says future cleanup, Paul?
Yes,
Okay, and you see the four rectangle, the building footprint?
right,
That's the building that we're talking
okay,
about.
I got it, yeah,
I pointed that out to me.
yes,
I know you
yes,
did, I'm just
Thank
want to
you.
clarify, okay?
yeah,
Okay. Okay?
Thank you.
Are you okay with that?
yeah.
4 by 36.
Tom, are you okay
Yes.
in terms of discussion?
All set with
Mike?
discussion.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we need a vote, okay?
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
Okay, so it's Keith, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Keith, please make your presentation, okay? If there's anything that you want to talk about or say in terms of what you're trying to do.
Okay, the garage was built, over the summer, and we have a first floor, ground level, in-law apartment that my father has moved into. When we had the original plans done for the property, I had the engineer put a house on the property. I think it was a 2-bedroom house, or 3-bedroom. Just to have it in the plan in case for future, when I sell the property, it gives an owner something that he can put on there to live in or whatever, other than the in-law apartment. In the process of building this building and talking to all the local contractors that were to come on the property, people started giving me ideas about putting in possible self-storage. This is something I've talked to the planning board about a little while back. I'm just working with the engineers now. So I haven't gotten any further with them as far as that goes. The apartment that I'm talking about is directly above the garage there now. There's 800 and some odd square feet of space. It exceeds, the downstairs apartment exceeds the 35%. It's about 38%. So I'm looking for that additional 56%, 56 square feet. Without changing the upstairs around it all, the plan. There's kind of a rough scale drawing there in the packet. So to gain that 56 square feet, I would have to kind of put a lot more work into it and get some type of closet or something above the first floor apartment, which doesn't really work well because the roof lines are different, the ceiling lines are different. The main bay of the garage has a 12-foot ceiling, where the apartment has an 8-foot ceiling, and it really makes it rough. John's taking a look at it. You know, he kind of understands what I'm talking about. So I'm just trying to keep the upstairs apartment just above the main bay of the garage and keep the first floor apartment just where it's at. And the idea is that when I sell my house, I live on Ham Woods now, which I'm trying to sell at the moment, is that I'm going to be able to sell this house, move into that apartment, because I have my youngest son who's still attending Prospect Mountain at this point, and I'd like him to finish school in Alton. And so that'd be where me and my wife and my 2 boys would end up moving into that temporarily. My oldest is in college, so he wouldn't be there much, but. And that's about it. So where the house would go would be about where the beginning of the self-storage is planning on going that direction. So that's why I decided to eliminate that house and just go with the apartment above. I don't see a big issue with it. It's not interfering with the neighbors or any of that. It's all internal. It's just petition walls is all we're talking about, really. The septic system is set up for, built for a 5-bedroom septic, and we're only going to end up having 3 in the building at that point. So we're well under the size of Leachfield. What else can I tell you? Any questions about it, or?
I have a question,
Yes,
if I may.
yes, Mr. Moore.
Okay, so, under the zoning reg, section 319, you're permitted to have an accessory dwelling unit that shall not exceed 35% of the total finished floor space of the principal dwelling unit.
Correct.
Is there a principal dwelling unit?
Well, the building is the principal dwelling unit was supposed to be that house. But we're going to eliminate that off the property. I was end up making the upstairs apartment to be the primary dwelling, because that is larger than the downstairs, and leave the downstairs apartment the way it's at, since it's already built.
All right, so okay, so, and I was hearing you say that, and I didn't quite get it from the narrative, it's me, but, so, this isn't just a garage, there's a principal apartment on the ground floor.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. There's no house. There's no
No house,
separate
no.
house. Okay. So you're treating the apartment on the ground floor as the principal dwelling unit for purposes of this accessory unit? No.
No, that
You're
would
still
be
the house as the principal dwelling unit.
the upstairs area of the garage is gonna be the principal dwelling area.
Oh, that's gonna be the principal
That's the principal
dwelling.
dwelling unit.
And so that would render the downstairs apartment, in violation of the 35% requirement. So no more house is going on the lot, so you're gonna take the second floor apartment that's above the garage and the first floor apartment, and you're gonna make that the principal dwelling unit. And now you want, a variance to allow the apartment that's on the ground level to exist as an accessory dwelling unit, but the size of that ground floor apartment exceeds the 35% by 56 square feet or something like that, right?
You got it. You got it.
Okay, okay. And do we know what percentage the first floor apartment is of the dwelling unit? So in other words, you're limited to 35%. I know it's 56 square feet, but what percentage is that? Has anybody done that calculation?
I think it comes out to about 38% and change.
We figured it right at about 38%.
About 38%. So you want to go through, and of course, you're not going to be permitted to build a house now, obviously, because this is the
Correct.
principal, right. I get it. Okay. So you want to go from 35%, which is permitted, to 38% on a variance, and that 3% difference translates into about, what did we say, was 56 square feet additional, and that's already built.
Downstairs.
What if you went the other way? No, you could never do that.
Yeah, they would have to go.
In other words, if the first floor apartment was the principal dwelling unit, it exceeds the.
It's gonna be smaller. It's already
Right.
smaller by design than the area
Right.
that they want to finish.
Right. And you're gonna keep them as separate units. You're not gonna combine them into one house upstairs and
No.
down?
No, absolutely not. Someday when the time comes, when my father's not around, you hate to say that stuff.
Right.
Then at that point, I might rent them out, as rental apartments. But at this point, I want to keep the building for just him at this point, so he kind of has his own place. And we're only going to live there if we have to, if this house sells before my son is done with Prospect Mountain.
If it were one dwelling structure, then he would need to be here. I mean, he could take that upstairs and downstairs, make it one with a garage and everything, make it one house, and
Right.
he wouldn't even have to be here.
Correct.
And everything about that structure is in conformance with all appropriate setbacks. It's in the building
Yes.
envelope. Everything is fine. Okay, thank you.
Like
Thank you.
you said, the septic is more than adequately sized
Yeah,
for it. They planned it for the house and the accessory
accessory.
dwelling unit. So all that was already designed and built that way.
what was, just one second if I may, what was going to be the accessory dwelling unit, the ground floor apartment? Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea was build the house and then the ground floor apartment would be the accessory dwelling unit. And that would have complied with the size of the house.
Yes.
But now since since the upstairs is going to be the principal dwelling unit, the apartment is 3% greater than the 35%.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
You said that so eloquently.
He's
So
got it.
eloquent.
He's got it.
Got it. He's on it.
You got it. Let me tell you, that was a challenge for him. But, sometimes we have to help him. But, Mr. LaRochelle, you have a question.
Keith, are you aware of the comments from the fire department about the egress doors or the doors that are in the first floor apartment that swing into one another? That was a concern with them?
Swing into, what is it now?
It's the egress door to the apartment downstairs, and then the door that's into the garage, the two doors open
Yes.
into one another. That was concern of theirs for the egress, that the two
Now,
doors.
technically, he has, well, technically, he has 4 egresses on that, in that apartment downstairs. There's an egress window in the bedroom on the very back side. He has another door that goes out to a screen porch on the side. Then he has the 2 doors, the front door and the door that goes into the garage.
Okay. Okay, I was just looking at the comments from the fire deputy chief. He addressed those doors specifically, and of course, CO, detector, smoke detector, that type of thing.
That's all.
Yep, everything's all wired, everything's all hardwired in the building and, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
everything's
Thank-
already got smoke detectors. It's all set to go. There's even, we were even prepared for this down the road with Greg Brooks and the meters and stuff like that outside.
Good.
You got Greg Brooks doing your electrical?
He does a hell of a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, does he send you a bill? I still haven't gotten the bill in 2 years, okay?
That's another issue.
Great guy. Okay, super, thank you. Tom, Mike, any questions?
No questions for me.
No, Paul ran us through that pretty good. I did have some misunderstandings on it until Paul clarified it, so I am good.
Paul La Rochelle or Paul Monsione? Never mind.
Don't have to answer that.
Mike, anything?
No questions for me.
Okay. Unless there's any discussion, shall we go to the,
Public input.
oh, God, yes, thank you. Okay, so, Keith, if we need to go to public input, okay?
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go to public input. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to, that is against this applicant's application? Please speak now.
Josh is shaking his head.
No, I'm just gonna ask one more time. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak against this applicant's application? Hearing none, is there anyone in the public that would like to accept or approve the application, this applicant's application? I'm going to say it again. Is there anyone in the public that would like to approve of this application? Hearing none, public input has been closed. Okay. Shall we go to the worksheet or discussion? Any discussion? No, we're going to go to the worksheet. Okay. All right. Keith, do you have anything else that you want to say, or we're going to go right to the worksheet?
No, I think Paul Monsione covered everything.
Well, that's a serious setback for you. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We'll take that under consideration. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Piper, okay, so the variance worksheet, Paul, could I get you to start, please?
Yes, Paul Monsione, the variance will not be contrary to public interest. Our zoning regs permit a accessory dwelling unit to be on a lot such as this. The circumstances under which this comes about have been explained, and they're seeking a mere 3% or 56 square feet addition in order to be in compliance. I think that there's got to be that kind of room in a reg such as this under these circumstances.
For all the same reasons, I agree. Frank Rich, I agree.
Paul Rochelle, I agree as well.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Spirit of the ordinance. This request is in harmony with the spirit of the zoning ordinance and the intent of the master plan, with the convenience of health, safety, and character of the district within which it is proposed. Because of all of the things that Mr. Monzioni said in terms of the public interest, I think all of those apply.
I agree.
This is Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Monzioni, I agree.
And I'll say Paul Rochelle, I agree. I didn't say Paul last time.
Okay, and I didn't say Frank Rich, I'm sorry. Okay. Call substantial.
By granting the variance, substantial justice will be done. I believe that this is going to have no adverse effects to any of the neighbors, or change anything with the property itself, other than making it more convenient and easier for the occupants.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Monzioni, I agree, and I would add that the benefit to the applicant far exceeds any detriment to the town, and I don't perceive there'd be any detriment at all by this minor adjustment.
Frank Rich, I agree. Tom?
Yes, values of the surrounding properties. This request will not diminish the value of surrounding properties. The building looks very well laid out. Presentation was good, and especially as far as abutters are concerned, there was nobody that was against this proposal. I strongly believe it will not diminish the value of the surrounding properties.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Monzioni, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree.
Paul Rochelle, I agree as well.
Okay. Mike, if you don't mind, I'm going to read this for you, okay?
Please do. I don't have the document, so go right ahead.
Okay. Hardship. For purposes of this subparagraph, unnecessary hardship means that owing to the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, no fair or substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of the property.
I agree. Mike Hepworth.
Okay, look at the second part of that sentence.
Oh, and the proposed use is a reasonable one. I'm sorry, Mike. And the proposed use is a reasonable one.
Yes, absolutely. It's an internal structure, no change to the exterior, and certainly no interference to the neighbors, so I agree.
Thank you.
Paul Monzioni, I agree for those reasons.
Frank Rich, I agree for those reasons.
Paul Rochelle, I agree as well.
And Tom Lee, I agree.
Thank you, Tom. Okay.
I would make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we grant the application for variance of case Z21-01 on the condition that the applicant address and meet the concerns of the fire department as set forth in the head of department.
That's that egress door, Keith, okay? Just gotta look into it with the fire department or with the code officer.
I think, and from what we've been told here tonight, I think they've already been met, that they've been described, but I just want to make it a condition of my motion for granting of the variance. I'm sure they've even been complied with already, but I think we should give consideration to the fire department's concerns.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion? If not,
Paul Monzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul Rochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
It passes unanimously.
Great, thank you.
Keith, good luck, okay? All right, and, when you see your electrician, tell him I never liked him, okay?
I'll tell him, make sure he sends you my bill too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. That takes care of that one. Wonderful. Moving right along. Where was I? Okay, that one's done. Next applications, Z 21-2, Christopher Bolt, Esquire, Donahue Tucker, Canarella, agent for the Long trustee family. Is a special exception in a minute.
To help you when you do public input.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is Christopher Bolt there? Christopher? How about Tim Long? Anybody? No? Oh, there you are.
Greetings, folks. I should have my clients as well, Maggie and Tim Long. And if you want, I can get rid of my lovely background.
It's just making me cold.
Yeah. I'd rather have it too cold than too hot, that's for damn sure. But there we go. Great, we have Tim and Maggie. I also am expecting Nicole Roseberry of Ames Associates and Liz Venus of LSV Architects.
Well, welcome, Chris, welcome, Tim, welcome, Maggie, okay? And we're going to just quickly go through to approve the application. If you'll give us a few minutes, and that
Certainly.
will give you guys time to have the other people on board, okay?
And a butters list.
I seen it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
First there.
Find it again.
No, I don't
I did
see
see
it
it.
in mine, but
Hold on, I'll find it again.
very well done application, but
There's a lot here.
a lot of very good stuff in here, but I don't see it. What is it?
Right here.
You have it.
Yes. I've got it right here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abutters.
Chairman Rich?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I see it now. I have it.
Yep.
This
And-
is Liz.
Hi, Liz, welcome.
Hi. Oh, there I am. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we accept the application for case Z 21-02 as complete.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Paul LaRochelle. Any discussion? Hearing none. Can I get a vote?
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
Okay. Chris, if you would, whoever's going to make the presentation, I'm assuming it's going to be you, okay?
I'll start off, and it depends on the
Start
questions
off.
you have, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, great, go ahead.
Thank you kindly. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am Chris Bolt, Donahue Tucker Chandela up in Meredith. Happy to be with you tonight. Thanks for letting us do this by Zoom. I've got Maggie Long and Tim Long as well, and there at the bottom, we've got Nicole and Liz to answer any of the technical questions for you. Josh, I'm not sure if you can allow me to share screen. Maybe you did. Let's see if we can get all of these up fairly easily. Yes. Mr. Chairman, members, this is Exhibit A, the existing conditions plan. And we also gave you a second sheet that is just the area in question of the existing two-bedroom guest house down there on the water. This is a long-standing structure. We have photographs from the 1940s timeframe, but this is a highly non-conforming structure. It is almost all within your 30-foot setback. This is a lot that exists, has existed prior to your zoning ordinance coming in the early 1970s. And this is your 30-foot line right here under the word existing cottage. The plan is to come in from the water side. So we're not coming down this wooded slope, and back up a little bit for you. This lot does have 3 structures on it. That is a non-conforming use, but that use is not being changed. We have the same number of bedrooms today as we would at the end of this project. But we have, in an abundance of caution, after speaking with John, added a to the extent necessary clause in our special exception application to cover the provisions of 320D. But I believe it's 320J only. And we can walk through the whys and wherefores there. But as this shows, this is a fairly steep lot. The good news is it's on the waterfront already. The bad news is it's literally a foot off the water. I say with some tongue in cheek, we are doubling that distance of a setback. So we do have a proposed plan here that is Exhibit C in your packet. That shows the expansion that we're talking about is this area here that is behind the 30-foot line. We are moving the living area back and moving the front line back a foot. Again, this will come in from the water for construction, and when it is completed, these plantings that Nicole's plan is showing here are intended to come in and help ameliorate any concerns about being so close. This project starts with a 2-bedroom guest house. It ends with a 2-bedroom guest house. In Exhibit D, we have Liz's existing conditions drawings and the proposed conditions drawing, which is both floor plan and the elevations for your consideration, so that you know what we're coming in on. This guest house is already served by year-round septic and water. That was approved by DES and installed back in 2017, early 2018. We have before I go into the narrative, do we have any questions about the particulars of what we're talking about today vis-a-vis what we're proposing?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Monzioni.
The elevations that you just had up there, those are of the proposed guest house that we're talking about here?
Correct.
So-
This is the proposed, and also in Exhibit D on the paper copies are the existing, both by Liz Venus.
I noticed you have some photographs in the application. I'm just wondering if,
Yes, and I
Mainly-
apologize, I don't have those up on the screen share.
that's fine. The photographs
I do have paper copies.
depicting the current guest house depicted in the photographs, is that correct?
Correct. Those photographs are of the existing, which is
Right.
this version, yes.
Right. So, it looks from the elevations of the proposed guest house that it's being turned into a two-story structure. From a one-story, it's expanding upward to have two stories of living space. Am I right?
I believe it has, and Tim and Maggie, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it has a loft right now. What we are proposing, though, complies with your zoning ordinance height restrictions and your, shall we say, interesting definition of building envelope. The building envelope, by your definition, is not the existing structure's envelope. It is the height and
The lots.
setback issues.
Right, the lots envelope, if you will, but.
Right.
But it's an expansion of the use by virtue of expanding the structure. So you, like the bottom elevation of, you've got a side, you've got looks like a front elevation, maybe it's the lake side elevation. It looks like it's 2 stories of living space. And the photographs that have been submitted show that this is a structure that is sitting on posts or whatever its foundation may be, with some lattice work, and there doesn't appear to be living space on the bottom or ground level. And the proposed looks like it's going to be a two stories of living space. I'm just trying to clarify if that's the case.
There is no living space. This is the existing plan. And Liz, please correct me if I misspeak, Maggie and Tim as well. Let's blow this one up. This is the existing. And this area down below is storage area. That
Okay.
area is intended to remain storage area. Okay. What we are proposing, and this has the 2-bedroom layout with the decking and whatnot. What we are proposing, get down one more page. This is still storage area. What is going up is this bedroom up there. It is still only going to have 2 bedrooms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the elevation, it appears to depict, when the existing structure, it's lattice work, and from the photographs, it's just dirt and trees and roots and stuff, and then the elevation, I mean, it's a beautiful architectural design, but from the elevation, it appears, at least to me, to be like it would be living space behind that wall. It looks to be a full-size exterior wall with doors and windows. And to then say so is it a basement, or is it just dirt, or is it the same as the current structure? Or I'm just trying to understand what's going on
Certainly.
on the ground level.
Certainly. And Liz, maybe you can help us out, but This,
Yep.
if I'm correct, this is the ground floor
Correct.
of the proposed drawing.
Okay.
And
Yes.
that does have windows and doors, but it is referenced, let me blow it up.
So that's a floor plan, if you will, of the proposed structure for the ground level.
Correct. It's storage in the maintenance area, the mechanical area.
I see. So it's like a basement. Well, so the walls will be constructed walls. And so is this structure going to receive a new foundation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea is to, make that storage area more weatherproof and more aesthetically appealing than the current basement area that just has lattice work.
Right. I mean, from my eye, the current area is really outdoor space that's simply covered by lattice, and it's tree roots and rocks and dirt. And now this structure is going to have a completely constructed interior space closed off from the elements and from the outside. But I guess we're being told that space, once constructed, will be used only for storage. Will it be heated and have any utilities inside it, such as electricity?
Well, it'll have, that basement area will be heated so that, we don't freeze pipes if we get into the colder part of the year, but this whole cabin is going to be designed to be blown out at the end of every season. It's too treacherous to go down 100, we're about 100 steps from the road to get down to that cabin. And we're not going to maintain that. We haven't used it at all in 4 years, and we don't intend to in the wintertime.
Tim,
We're having a tough time
we're having a
hearing.
hard time hearing you.
Oh, sorry. Any better?
I believe what Mr. Long was saying was that it is intended to be heated just so that pipes don't freeze. But it is not intended as an abundant living space. It's intended for storage. That is a fur piece down those steps, although it's intended to be heated space as a building. The other thing I would note for you is there are no interior stairs. It's not like this.
Correct.
This storage area is communicating with the living room, kitchen, first floor bedroom. Those stairs go up to the second floor bedroom.
There's no access from the first floor down to the basement,
Down to the basement.
unless you walk outside.
Correct.
So, Liz, if I may call you Liz.
Yep.
Thank you. So is that a poured foundation or is it just a knee wall foundation with 2x6s or 2x8s, whatever you're going to use going up, or is that a poured?
It will mostly be a poured foundation just because of the way the grades are. And we'll have that
Sure.
one wall that faces the
Right.
lake. We'll have 2x6 construction.
Right. And if I'm looking at the plans correctly, 40% of it is a mechanical room. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. So the mechanicals,
I actually don't know the exact percentage, but yes, roughly yes.
well, I'm roughing it, but roughly 40%. It looks like it's around 40%, okay, per take. And and I would imagine, and I'm sure that the Longs could probably speak about this, the other being storage, because it's so close to the water, I would think that the water sports and lounge chairs and everything would be accessible for that. That's why the French double doors to
Correct.
open it up wide, get all of your stuff in there,
All the toys. Yep.
all the toys. Okay.
But it's going to be fully insulated, up to building code with insulation. I mean, it's a living space that's
Sure.
going to be used as storage in a mechanic room.
Right.
And you can't access it from the main
And you
living
can't
space.
access it.
But
So,
it's still expanding the use of the building by creating a whole additional, however many square feet of living space. I mean, it's not gonna be used for that, but it's constructed as such with heat, electricity, the mechanic room is down there.
But it's a basement being used for storage,
Yeah,
okay?
it's accessible only from, exterior.
Only accessible from outside.
Right,
I know,
it is
we-
not part of
Make
the,
it a separate apartment,
What?
which could make it a separate apartment someday, having its own entrance.
well,
Yes, I
it
see.
has no plumbing and it does not have, any kind of kitchen or anything like that. It is not part of the contiguous conditioned space of the of the guest house.
Yeah, but I know that Mr. Long owns, outhouses, okay, it's a construction company, so, I'm sure he and Maggie would want.
Yeah,
Just
Okay.
park
that
one
would be
right
a
next to it.
lovely addition to
Yes.
this lot. Yes.
Paul or Rochelle, you had a question?
Oh, I was just gonna state the fact that the existing building that's there now, looking at the pictures, there, really isn't much for footings there now that it's on. A lot of it's on ledge, rock. And so your full intention is to, totally dig out the embankment, put footings and foundation walls, to be able to access from the beach or water side only. So there'll be no other access around that foundation.
Right.
Other than the two front doors.
Correct.
Am I
That's correct. With this slope, it'd be physically impossible.
Right. And you can see that from the pictures, what was there, and, it's pretty difficult, yes.
So, this is, Frank. Can someone elaborate, Chris, on, what, you're doing to the surrounding, areas, in terms of the, impervious areas around the building itself? Can we talk about that?
Certainly.
first?
Let's go back to, this is Exhibit C of our packet, the proposed conditions plan with the purple on it. And this is the proposed new structure. It is going back behind this existing wall line, this distance. But because it is a conforming location, we believe after review of your zoning ordinance and speaking with Mr. Beaver, that that is not an increase of nonconformity. This will have the drip edges that Nicole's plan proposes. There will be obviously some excavation of this area and the surrounding area to dig out that, shall we say, historic foundation structure that so many of the area buildings had at the time. It was just put in as they could. I've got one part of my barn that's on a couple stumps, but the plantings will come back in. Obviously, all appropriate measures for siltation protection. It will occur, both silt fence and I believe Tim said their prior work also included the silt socks, the tubes. Those are, belt and suspenders types of process, and that's their intention to protect this very important asset of theirs as well. This does obviously need DES approval. I do not believe we have received that approval yet, but that is a condition of your approval that I would suggest. The plan calls for various plantings, as Nicole indicates there in the blue, low bush, blueberry, high bush, some cinquefoil, things of that nature in the immediate area. And we'd be open to, if there was some other preference that the board had, or if DES said we want, 3 more instead of what's there, of course, that'll happen. This is a beautiful spot, as anyone who's been there knows. I believe also we have a letter of support from the neighbor to the immediate south, most affected neighbor. And he talks about what the project was for the main house and how well that was protected. So I don't have heartburn on this one, being known that it will be done right.
Thank you. That, so DES has not been, the shoreline protection DES has not been approved at this point. Certainly it will be a condition that we will have in, depending on how this special exception goes, it will be one of the conditions.
Positive.
Can you elaborate, can somebody elaborate on the difference in height, okay, from the existing cottage to what the new height will be, okay, of this when it's finished?
Okay. I believe we have, and Liz, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, the main.
It might be on the other drawing,
On the proposed.
on the elevation.
I couldn't quite figure it out.
I thought we had it there. We have plate
It's,
heights, and there's one that I thought we added that was the.
We did have
region.
On,
We know we comply, but how do we prove it to you is the question.
Yeah. The intention is
Mr.
to not, to not make this that much taller than the existing structure because, well, for a very good reason, we don't want to block the
Actually,
view.
the way, this is right in front of the Long's residence, okay?
Right.
Just, right, so I'm sure that they're concerned just as much, but actually, we would be more concerned with any of the neighbors in their view rights, okay?
Right.
Whether it was behind the home or on the sides of the home. So that's why I'm asking the question, what is the difference between what exists there now and grandfathered in versus what you're proposing?
It
We had
looks to, go on, Liz.
There was a drawing that had dimensions on the side that noted the difference in.
I think the building code inspector knows. John, you've got the number?
yes, I have those drawings in front of me. The
Okay.
existing, the front elevation of the existing structure is 25 feet and inches, several inches, 25'5". The proposed structure at the lakeside has a proposed height of 31'5".
There we go.
So we're looking at, what did I say, 25?
6 feet?
Yeah, about 5 feet,
Sorry,
approximately 6,
probably 5.5 feet.
yeah, 5.5 feet change in the lakeside elevation.
The lakeside elevation, yeah.
At the rear facing the main house, the existing height from grade is 16'4", and the proposed will be 23'8".
Okay, so that's about 7.5.
Yeah, 6.5, 7 feet.
7 feet. Okay, great. Has anybody done?
And that is that's because
sorry.
that the baseline of the back of the house moves with the grade, so that's why you have a different delta.
Sure. Yeah. Has anybody done has anybody done a visual to your neighbors to the left or right? Does that restrict any visibility that you know of?
Not that I know of, and we did, Tim did show all of the plans to Al next door, and that was before the letter was written, so they had no heartburn.
Okay.
Jeff hasn't even- Jeff's been busy.
So one of the other members, Paul La Rochelle, just asked me a question. I think I know the answer to it. He said, what about this? I believe you have another house that's on the top, but that's on your property. That's the Long's property.
Yes.
Okay. And that,
Yes.
you saying that might restrict view.
I was just making sure that there was no other property.
And if you remember, Paul, the Longs came to us a few years ago for a variance here. I think was it 2 years ago, Tim, or 3 years ago?
17, I believe.
2016.
Might be 3 now.
3 years. Well, how time flies. Okay, you know, he came for some variances from us when he bought the property. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Tom,
but is that
Paul?
is that a separate lot?
No, it's all on
It's
the same
lot.
It's all on the same.
This is
lot.
all,
Which is
these
why
3 are on the one lot. There is a separate lot across the street.
It's all on the same lot.
Right, which is why it's all non-conforming to begin
It
with.
was all
Yeah.
non-conforming right from the beginning.
May I ask a question? Is there any way to move the entire proposed structure back and bring it farther back to reduce the amount of encroachment into the shoreline, into the waterfront setback?
I don't think so physically due to the amount of slope that is
Agreed.
there.
Yeah.
And as we all know, the deeper down we go, the more ledge we hit. And so this is moved back a foot from the water, but the prime expansion area is actually in a conforming location.
Right, but under the ordinance, and this would be subsection J that you referred to earlier.
Yep.
It's, you know, the replacement of a non-conforming structure voluntarily removed shall be located to the extent feasible to reduce the non-conforming aspect of the structure. So part of that encroachment into the waterfront setback involves a porch. Is that right?
Correct. We've moved let me zoom in again. The living space right now comes to this gray line roughly in the middle of that X. Okay?
Yeah.
And the porch goes beyond it. We've moved the living space back
Right.
to this darker line. Porch moves back a foot from the existing area. It's still, however, only 11.5 feet. It's not a massive
I gotcha.
porch. So
well, you
we feel
clarified
we've met
that.
the intent of that by doing it to the extent possible, moving things as far back as we felt feasibly could be done, so that, you know, this was not a completely buried wall, even if you didn't,
Right.
if you didn't hit ledge.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
another factor to consider, the new structure is going to end up, the present structure is about 19 feet or so from the house. The rear of this is moving back to where it's almost 10, it's down to about 10 feet between the house and the cottage.
I say,
That's where it will end up at roughly.
right,
And we don't, at that point, we definitely don't want to get any closer
right, to the primary
to
structure.
the primary structure.
Right.
And it clarified, council clarified for me too, and just now in that answer, because I was wondering, I know the living space got moved back. I just learned too that the porch also is being moved back, but the whole structure is coming back a foot away from the water.
It's coming back
At least
one
that's
foot.
some reduction of the non-conforming because of the encroachment into the water setback.
Which is a good question, Paul. The existing deck that exists, what's the width and length of that existing deck?
Appears to be 6.5 feet by that width, which is,
And it is a covered deck.
Yeah.
So that nature of that deck does not change in terms of, you know, both situations will have a covered condition.
But the new one is going to be just an open deck.
The new one would be covered.
It will be covered. Okay. And that's 12 by 20.
Correct. Whether we have a
Right.
plan.
I'm trying to get the right size quickly enough for you. I apologize.
We see it on the proposal.
There we go.
Yeah, there, yep.
That's part of,
Got it.
that's part of Exhibit D.
Yep. So that's a 12 by 20 versus, right now, it's a 6 by 20, whatever.
6 by 22.
6 by 20.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, 22.
6 by 22.
Is that supported by posts or, let me
It
see.
appears to have a cross brace.
Yeah,
type
the
of
roof
structure.
the roof has big knee braces and there's a post on the lakeside that supports the deck, the current deck.
Right. There's a post on the lakeside. And even with that, it seems like you're doubling the size of the deck from 6 to 12 feet. And even with that expansion, you're saying the overall, the encroachment into the water setback is being reduced by a foot?
Correct.
Correct. As I opened, we're doubling the distance from 1 feet to 2 feet. So
Yeah, Chris, let's not go there. Okay.
fair enough. That's why the tongue was firmly in cheek.
Yeah, I got it, and we appreciate that.
Jim and Rich, could I interrupt?
Sure thing, Tom, please.
Just by looking at the abutters list, I just wanted confirmation on this, but the lot to the right and the lot to the left, they've been contacted, and I believe, Chris, you stated that Tim has shared the plans. And just to confirm for me, as far as view with the height going up another 6 feet, I know it's on a slope, but is that accurate that the lot behind 1725 is also the Long's property? Is that correct, Tim?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And then my last question I had was in regards to Conservation Commission. They had some comments. John, I don't know if this has been addressed or it's been taken care of during this discussion, but I can review it if the parties don't have it in front of them.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes, please.
I did see that, the comments that were made, and they said it was making it more non-conforming, which it is not, as far as physical non-conformity. And with the, whether or not it's going to be considered more non-conforming by DES will be addressed when they do the shoreline, during the course of the shoreline plan. So for the town, no, it is not becoming more physically non-conforming because whatever expansion is occurring in the building envelope.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike, have you got any questions?
I was just concerned that if there was any issue with with the new structure interfering with the neighbors. I think it's been addressed, though. I think the answer to that is no.
Right. So, this is a non-conforming lot that, they're expanding, but expanding back. They're reducing the non-conformity by double what it could have been, which is a foot. Okay.
That's the physical non-conformity, yes.
Okay, but they don't have DES approval, so there could be issues with DES. We have no control over that.
Correct.
Okay, that isn't what we're here for. Okay, so just thinking out loud, and this is really more for the Tim and Maggie Long. In terms of the nonconformity, in increasing the nonconformity, would the Longs consider reducing the deck by another foot or so?
They're not increasing the nonconformity.
They would be reducing the nonconformity if they reduce the deck by a foot.
Well, they're actually reducing the nonconformity by moving it back a foot. They're reducing that nonconforming footprint in the setback.
I understand that, but the deck itself, if the deck was cut by a foot, doesn't that also reduce the nonconformity?
Yes, it would reduce the nonconforming footprint in the setback area.
Right.
Instead of being 2 feet, it'd be 3 feet.
I'm sorry?
Instead of being 2 feet, it'd be 3 feet.
It'd be 3 feet. Okay. I'm just making a suggestion because it may also be helpful for the shoreline protection in terms of what you're showing them that you're doing. I'm just asking the question.
It's something I've been struggling with all since we've been there in that cabin, Frank. That it's,
Yeah, Tim, go ahead.
it's too tight.
It's too tight? Yeah.
There's not a landing area. We have, I had my father's 90th birthday last July here, and we were struggling to get people down, everybody in the family down here by the water. So, I mean, every on that deck, that's going to be our. We don't have a lawn. We don't have a lot of. I know we bought that today, but I'm trying to maximize every inch I can get down there.
And 11.5 feet is not a huge deck. It's pretty tight as it is.
Structurally too, they're moving it any further would cause an issue. There's a path of travel from the patio area underneath the deck over to where they access the breakwater and the docks. And
Okay, so that underneath would be used as access to get from one side of the property to the other side, which is an important aspect of it.
Right. It's being used that way now. And by moving that exterior, let's say closest post to the lake, away from the lake by a foot, it kind of tightens that up. If we moved it another foot in, it would make it even tighter.
Yeah, not a very good idea on my part.
It's a walkway, right?
It's a walkway, and I understand it better now. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Understand the question, but we appreciate the flexibility.
Well,
I mean, those facts are important for the record. And, subsection E requires, to the extent feasible, the applicant reduce the non-conforming aspect. So I think it's essential to explore all aspects and what is feasible in reducing the non-conformity. And if there was some way to get another 6 feet or 10 feet of non-conforming aspect to the proposed structure, then, it should be done. I mean, the idea of eliminating the porch would even make it less non-conforming. But now we've heard information in the record that it would render the place, unusable in terms of being able to use it the way it's been used historically and so forth. So those facts are important for the record.
it's actually very important to have it in the record. Okay, great.
Very much so. Thank you kindly.
Yep, Paul, La Rochelle. Yes.
This is Paul. A quick question on now that we're talking about the front deck area, the new proposed roof line, how far is that actually going to come out over beyond the outside edge of the deck?
I've got it pulled in pretty tight so that we're not, making the condition more non-conforming.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to press the issue of, having a greater overhang, by moving that line back from the lake a foot. If I ate it back up with the overhang, it would kind of be, it wouldn't be as much of a benefit to the nonconformity.
Right, I'm looking at two different elevations on the print, and it shows one, it looks like the overhang is at least a foot, or if not more, over the port, the deck.
On the back, which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at, the west side elevation.
Well,
Mm.
that has no overhang. I mean,
This
it's,
line here, I am taking the measurements to
Okay.
be from this leading edge, which looks to be the leading edge of the roof line as
Very close.
well. And if you
Correct.
look, the post is slightly inside that.
Okay.
It's only like 3 or 4 inches inside of that roof line.
That's the intention, at least.
Thank you.
I
Right,
I must say the design is outstanding, okay? And,
No, it's good.
well, it will be a great addition to that code. And Maggie and Lisa, nice drawing, very nice. Okay, Tom, any more questions from you?
Yeah, just one for my own clarity. And for you, Chris, it's 2-bedroom structure currently, and it's gonna stay a 2-bedroom structure, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, any more questions?
No, I don't have any more questions.
Paul?
I just want to make sure we've considered this factor appropriately. We talked about the increase in height and the potential adverse effect of views. The fact that the Longs own currently the lot behind it that could be affected, and so it's okay because the Longs own it. But we have to consider that ownership could change, and the people, 100 years from now, 50 years from now, whatever, how does it impact their view? And so I just want to make sure we've looked at that carefully, and what we've said is there's an increase of about 6 feet in that back. I know we take a 35 average around finished grade to determine compliance with the height requirement under the ordinance, but we've looked at that in terms of whether it's going to obstruct any views.
And I think, Paul, if you know the property, and I think we know that area reasonably well in Smith Cove.
Mm-hmm.
The Long's residence is in front of this.
Of the other lot,
It's in front of that lot.
right,
It's higher than this.
then
This
the
building
proposed
will
cottage
be.
will be the
So
proposed guest house.
I don't think it will ever impact
Right,
the person because
because of the height.
of the Long's original home. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Is
Quite a slope.
is up on a higher slope.
Yeah,
And remember, and Tim can correct me, but if I remember correctly, if you're standing on the deck of the main house right now, you're looking down on the roof of this cottage.
Oh, yeah.
correct.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is that steep.
That much.
That's how
So,
much-
and
Well,
if you're standing on the lot behind,
right.
over on across Smith Point Road, you can't even see that cabin.
and
Right.
the
So
slope
the-
of that lot actually goes down after Smith Point Road, and it comes back down.
Yes.
So it's not a continual slope, uphill slope through that lot. When it hits Smith Point Road on the backside, it flattens out and and slopes back down.
And just to put it in more context in your exhibits A and C give you these contour lines. The
Yeah.
road is roughly at 558 feet. The back of the
Right.
guest house is, 25 feet below that.
Yeah.
So
So,
there's not
Right.
going to be a view obstruction 100 years from now, or at least during the lifetime of these buildings.
so that means the top of the roof line is going to be at the height of the road.
Not
Not
even,
That exists.
not
Not
even.
even,
Not even that.
well below, still well
Yeah.
below the height.
You're going to be roughly at this line here, maybe at 538. You're still going to have 20 feet of elevation behind you.
Jim and Rich,
Just to see it.
Yeah. So I think we're covered there.
no, that's good, yeah, no, I just want to make sure there's evidence in the record
Yeah.
to.
All
Yeah,
good
no.
questions, all good questions.
criteria.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So
Public input.
we, unless you have something else, Chris, Tim,
The only
Meg?
question I would have for you, I don't feel the need to go through the list because you will in your discussions. I give in my narrative our answers to those. If you had any questions about those, once you close the public session, you would need to open it up again to allow me to answer the questions. But
Yeah.
I think it's
Well-
self-explanatory as you will go through after all of this good discussion. The answers are clear.
Are you guys comfortable? Is everyone comfortable with what Chris is
Yes.
requesting?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so if we have any questions, we'll ask it after the public input, if that's okay with everyone. Okay? Okay. We're gonna go to public input, and, wait a second, John. We don't allow yawning here. Okay, there is no yawning.
I was looking for bugs.
Oh, okay.
A little light on dinner tonight, so I'm
I
kind
mean, am I that boring? Come on, cut it out. All right.
of long day.
So we're going to go to public input. And is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in opposition of this application? Please speak now. Josh? Okay, I'm going to ask one more time. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in opposition of this application? Hearing none. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in favor of this application? No one. Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask it one more time. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none. Going once, twice, three times. Public input is closed. Okay, so that brings us to what Chris suggested. Does anyone have any questions about his commentary on the special exception? Does anyone have any questions on that? Do we need to go through that, or can we? I think it's pretty, I think Chris did an excellent job of, and if we did our homework, we already read your commentary, and then the attached letter was well put together. Thank you. We always appreciate that. As a matter of fact, the entire application was well put together by all parties. Thank you again. Okay, unless anybody has an objection on the board, do we need a discussion, or can we go right to the worksheet?
The worksheet, I would suggest.
You would, okay. All right. Worksheet. Tom, worksheet. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Mike, worksheet. Are you okay with that?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Chris, that you want to say, or does the Longs want to say before we go to the worksheet?
I think we're good unless Maggie or Tim have anything.
I'll just chime in that my neighbor Al Posnack is lighting up my phone saying for some reason he can't get into the meeting, but he wanted to advocate strongly for this project. He reviewed everything, and he's a great patriot for doing it for me.
And you should have a written letter in the file that came from Mr. Posnick.
Yeah.
Can we confirm that did land?
I've never seen it.
I didn't see a letter.
I didn't see any
I've
letter.
never seen it.
No.
Okay, so
Okay,
who
he
was
sent
that?
it on January 5th to plansec@alton.nh.gov at 11:23.
If Amelia's been out the last couple days.
Okay.
Well,
I can read it if you want.
Is it long?
Is it long, Chris?
No,
No?
Read it.
Okay, then
Go ahead.
why don't we read it for the record? Okay, please.
Okay. This is from Alan J. Posnack, 166 Smith Point Road, Alton Bay, New Hampshire. January 3rd, 2021 to the Alton ZBA, case number Z21-02. I am the immediate neighbor of the Long property to the south. Ours is the closest home to the building which is the subject of this hearing. Having discussed it with Mr. Long and having reviewed the drawings and narrative, I am familiar with the planned project. I am fully in accord with this project. Any change in that structure would only be an improvement. The Longs have shown excellent taste in improving their property, and it appears that this project will be consistent with everything they have done so far. I will happily support any decision that they make. Like any homeowner, I am mindful of the impact of neighborhood changes on my property value. With respect to this project, I have absolutely no concern that it will have any negative impact. I should also mention that during construction of their home in 2018-19, we were very pleased to see, despite what everyone knows was a difficult, very steep site, that they took every effort to protect the surroundings and, most importantly, the lake with silt socks, silt fencing, and a clean site. We appreciated the attention to the site and the lake environment. I look forward to presenting my verbal testimony on January 7th. Sincerely, Alan J. Posnack. And I can get another copy to you, John, by email once we're offline. I just can't do it at the same time.
That's fine.
Zoom with
It would
bandwidth
be
and sandwich.
It would be good to have it in the record
Certainly.
in file.
Like I say, it was sent. It just was sent to Amelia rather than.
Yeah, and it's
John.
probably, it's sitting in her inbox.
That was well written, Tim. You did a good job with that, you know? Okay. Can we go to the worksheet? Worksheet. Okay, let's go to the worksheet. Okay. Paul LaRochelle, I'm going to ask you to start.
Sure. A plat has been submitted in accordance with the appropriate criteria in Article 500, Section B, 520B.
Tom?
It's Tom Lee, approved. I agree.
Mike?
Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I agree, and I thought that the application was exceptionally well put together.
Frank Ridge, I agree. And again, I'm going to reiterate that it was very well put together, and we thank the participants in making our life a lot easier. I agree. Tom, you're next.
Okay, in regards to criteria of appropriateness, the specific site is an appropriate location for this use. As everyone's mentioned, the detailed plans, all questions were answered. It's a beautiful site overall. They've done a wonderful job with the main dwelling, and this upgrade to this guest house looks like it's going to be just as well. So I feel it's very appropriate.
Even though the new structure will remain non-conforming, it's an improvement over the existing structure, and I'm certain that with new landscaping and other features that will be put in, it will be beneficial to obviously the owners and the neighbors, so I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I agree that it's an appropriate location for the use. The use is not changing.
For all those reasons, I agree. Frank Rich?
I agree as well for all the same reasons. Paul LaRochelle.
Mike, I'm going to read this for you, okay?
Thank you.
Are you paying attention? Okay, good.
Yeah, you got me.
Okay. Value. Factual evidence is or is not found that the property value in the district will be reduced due to the incompatible land uses.
The property value will not be decreased as a result of this. So I agree it is appropriate and will only do benefit to the property value.
Paul?
I'm next.
Yes.
Paul Manzioni, I agree that factual evidence has not found that the property value in the district will be reduced due to incompatible land uses. There is no incompatible land use, and we've had no evidence that there would be a reduction in value.
Frank Rich, I agree, and it will only increase the property value of the existing home and the property values surrounding it.
I agree for the same reason as well, Paul LaRochelle.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, there is no valid objection from a butter based on demonstrable fact. Nobody came and objected to this application, and in fact, we had one letter presented to us in favor of the project.
I agree. Frank Rich?
I agree, Paul LaRochelle.
I agree, Tom Lee.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Frank Rich, nuisance. There is no undue nuisance or serious hazards to pedestrian vehicle traffic, including the location, design, and access ways of street and off-street parking, with the exception of Mr. Long's driving record, okay? Other than that, there has been no nuisance whatsoever.
I agree, Paul LaRochelle.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I don't know about Mr. Long's driving record, so I'm not going to agree to that part of it, but there's no nuisance to pedestrian or vehicular traffic from this project.
Mr. LaRochelle, facilities.
Adequate and appropriate facilities and utilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed use or structure. There is an existing septic system. The bedrooms are not changing. Still going to be a 2-bedroom system, and it's an appropriate system for this proposed property.
Tom?
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree. Tom?
Okay, in regards to sewage, there is adequate area for safe and sanitary sewage disposal and water supply. That's pretty straightforward.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree. There's adequate, safe and sanitary sewer disposal and water supply because it already exists on the property with the existing home itself.
I agree as well. Paul LaRochelle.
That was tough. Mike, intent. The proposed use is or is not consistent with the spirit of the ordinance and the intent of the master plan.
The proposed use is in the spirit with the intent of the proposed use of the property, so I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I just would add the proposed use or structure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the structure is important here because that's one of the things.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, and that's fine.
Thanks,
And,
Paul.
I'm sure, Mike, with the structure added, you're still in agreement?
Yes, I still agree. The structure will be slightly more conforming than the existing one, so I do agree.
And Paul Manzioni, I agree that the proposed use or structure is consistent with the spirit of the ordinance and the intent of the master plan. The ordinance permits this by special exception based on a number of criteria, including, to the extent feasible, the applicant takes measures to make the structure less non-conforming. And based on the information we have provided here, I think the applicant has done that to the extent feasible.
For all the same reasons, I agree.
I agree as well, Paul LaRochelle. Same reasons.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Okay.
Mike Hepworth, I
All
agree.
right. Okay, so can I get a motion from somebody? unless there's, I'm sorry, discussion, any discussion? No? Mike, Tom? No?
No,
No.
no.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion then that we grant the application for special exception of case Z 28-02. And I think on condition that the applicant receives all appropriate approvals from the state of New Hampshire, including DES.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Paul La Rochelle. Any discussion? Okay, roll vote.
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul La Rochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Greatly.
Thank you very much.
Happy New
and
Year
wish
to all.
you all the best, and Tim, Maggie, good luck with the house,
I
okay?
think we should
Good
send you guys
job.
to Congress tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
I think we should send you guys to Congress tomorrow. You all agree?
Thank you. Have a good one, guys, okay?
Thank
And
you.
wishing you the best.
Thank
Okay.
you much.
Bye-bye.
Take care. And John, I'll get you an email on the letter.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. There's been a request for a 5-minute recess.
Check.
Okay. And Mr. La Rochelle, the outhouse is now
Down the street.
down the street to
Outside.
the right. Okay, so now you only got 4 minutes.
One down at the park.
Yeah, you're right back.
He's there.
No, he's not in this chair, so I'll wait
We
for
lost him.
I
Maybe
lost
he
the
had to go to
agenda.
the outhouse.
I think he had to go to the real outhouse. He ran outside.
Tom, you coming down for wings or what?
No wings for me.
Boy, it used to be good in the old days. We could go right over to the Rusty Moose,
Yeah, I
hear
know.
live music. Everybody could hang out.
We
No
did that a
social
lot.
distancing, no masks.
We did that a
Sit
lot.
at the bar, sit at the table, didn't matter, get some wings, listen to music.
I was, supposed to go to the Legion today. I spaced it. I got a call from the state attorney general yesterday.
Okay,
Over there to do a compliance check because they had a complaint.
really? Really? Okay,
They were real happy to see me.
will be interesting.
I'll probably go on Monday.
Nobody's above the law.
No.
No, and, you know, that's, well, they don't like me anymore. I bet.
What time are you going?
Could go, what I should do is go
Well, set
tomorrow
right.
night.
Mike,
I'm not coming down here tomorrow
I'm all
night.
set, yeah.
Okay, where the hell did you go?
I just went to the other room, take a break.
Jeez.
That's fine.
I'll go on Monday.
Okay, all right, great. All right, can we go back on?
Lost my
Josh? Okay, all right, we're back on. All the members have made it back safely. There were no big crowds out there. And we're going to our Z 21-3. George and Carol Stevens, Michael Stevens, Agent Brad Jones, Jones and Beach Engineers. Is Brad Jones, are you there, or the Stevens, are you guys there? I'm sorry?
Working on it. Almost.
Okay.
He's getting it.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay. Hi, Brad.
Hi, how you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Are the Stevens going to be joining us or no?
And, Rob Broden is,
I'm sorry?
there's two households, the Stevens and the Brodens.
Oh, the Stevens and the Brogans. I'm sorry. I didn't,
They're here,
okay.
it's not on video.
Just not on video?
Yeah,
Is this Robert?
Liza wouldn't let me do that.
I'm sorry, is that you, Robert? Okay, there's Robert, okay. And
Your mic is off.
There you go.
Robert, your mic is still off.
Just gonna- Here.
No.
His mic is on, but his microphone volume is probably all the way down.
Rob, you need to try turning your microphone volume up.
You hear me now?
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you are. Okay.
I work in IT, so it takes me a while to figure those things out.
Not a problem. Welcome, Rob. Welcome, Brad.
Welcome. My wife is with me too in the room, Janet.
Welcome, Janet. Thank you for, yeah. Okay, is anybody here from the Stevens family?
Yes, we are here by video only.
Audio only.
Okay, and who am I speaking with? George, Carol, or Michael?
This is George and Carol. Hi, Paul.
Hi, George.
Okay, great, okay. Well, welcome, George and Carol, okay? And I'm assuming Brad Jones is going to make the presentation, but please, the owners, anytime you want to chime in. But we first need to just check the application for its completeness. If you'll just give us a few minutes. Please do.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept case Z 21-03 as complete.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Paul Manzione seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, can I have a vote on accepting the
Paul
application?
Manzione, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul La Rochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Brad, if you would start the presentation and/or the Stevens or Robert, okay?
That sounds good. This is Brad Jones. I'm with Jones and Beach Engineers, and I'm here tonight for a variance on actually two pieces of property, both in the Lakeshore residential zone. I don't know if I can share the screen and put a plan up. Is that do I need to?
Yeah. Yes, you can, Brad.
I hit that share screen. Is that what it is? All right, does that work?
Yes.
There you go.
It is.
So this will kind of give us a little plan to kind of go through, and this is a plan that was submitted to the ZBA, and we are on our way to the planning board after we get a ZBA approval, and we did actually present this to the planning board, and they did say that we needed to go back to ZBA, and the reason is that we're doing the lot line adjustment. Both of the lots will not meet the current zoning regulations, and so we and one of the items is the frontage on the lake, and the other item is the area of the lots. But I can kind of walk you through. I think you can see the cursor. There's two different parcels here. George Stevens owns this piece back here, and it's 1.8 acres. And it's got 106 feet of shore frontage. And Robert owns this parcel in here, which has got 75 feet of shore frontage. Back, it's kind of like a little pork chop lot, goes back over to here. And our lot line adjustment is shown in a darker, bolder line. And what we want to do is add this chunk of land that's owned by the Stevens and give that to Robert's property to increase the size of his property. And the reason for this is so Robert can build a new home and a new septic system, and he needs this to meet the requirements of the setbacks and the shoreline setbacks and all that. So the new home will be built in pretty much where the old home is, but it's actually going to meet the current setbacks, which the house does not at this point. The house itself is in real bad shape, foundations failed, so it is something that has to be torn down and reconstructed. It's not something that can be salvaged due to the foundation condition. And the new septic system is actually going to be a pre-treatment system, so it's going to kind of exceed most of the septics that are installed today, and that'll be placed in the property to replace the inadequate system that's there now. We have done a complete boundary of actually even the larger parcel, and we did an original lot line adjustment back in 2019. And George Stevens, we added property to his land, and now we're back in front of the board to add this small parcel and kind of even the land off and give the Robert a little larger lot, you know, for his plans. I guess I don't know if everyone knows the location. This is Sandpeep Road, and this is kind of off a Sawmill Road, which is kind of a back road that goes in, you know, and that's the access for both properties. Currently, the size of the Roberts property is 12,196 feet. We want to increase the size of that to 16,117 square feet. And the Stevens property is 1.8 acres, and that's going to be reduced to 1.72 acres. So it's really, you know, and like I say, the frontage on both pieces of property are going to remain the same. So we're not going to do anything with that. So it's only the size of the property that's going to change. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
Yes, Mr. Monzio.
It's Paul Monzioni. So before that proposed new house can be built, the owner is probably going to have to come back to the ZBA for appropriate application of one kind or another because of the fact that it's non-conforming. Am I right about that?
Yes, you are. I realized that just from sitting into the last meeting, that we will have to come back. It is non-conforming. I've also been dealing with the DES, Darlene Force, and we have a footprint proposal that we discussed and came to an agreement on relative to, you know, the encroachment into the 50-foot setback from the lake. So that's where we are with the state right now, just at a proposal.
Yeah. So I'm just saying when that time comes. So really, you're just picking up some additional land away from the lake back here so that you can put an appropriate septic to accommodate what you hope will be a future new structure for your home. And the only reason that you have to be in front of the ZBA in order to do this is because when you do this, you'll be creating two brand new lots by doing a boundary line adjustment. And under the current zoning ordinance, if lots are created after March 14, 1995, they have to have 150 feet of shoreline in order to comply. And because you're creating 2 new lots and it's after March 14, 1995, and they're not going to have 150 feet of shoreline, you're here to get this variance. And really, the shoreline that you already have is not being changed at all. These lots have been here for a long time, and you just want to pick up some extra land in the back to be able to put a septic in, so when you do your new house. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that and to conform or comply with the state regulations, environmental regulations around, impervious surface and woodland impact. So those are the other.
Right. Right. I mean, this is, it's not like all of a sudden people are taking land and creating brand new lots and saying, they should have 150 feet of shoreline. You guys are dealing with lots that predate zoning, and you're creating new ones just by virtue of the fact that you have to do a boundary line adjustment to accommodate this plan. So I just wanted to fully understand the reason for the application. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a small question. This is Frank Rich. The lot 31 has a long sliver that goes up the parallel line of your neighbor on 29. You see that? It's depicted in the yellow. And it now, with this new lot that you're creating, that it appears that is going away.
No, that's not the case, no.
Okay?
Yeah,
Oh, no, it's not going away.
No,
Okay,
this is the only piece of property right here that.
Right. No, I missed it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. It just, I didn't read the new proposed one. Okay, so that's staying. So is that what is that land? Is that just an easement, or
Yeah.
what is?
The right of way.
George,
George, you want to answer that one?
Is that a right of way?
can you guys hear me? George?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can speak to that. So, that was an original easement to that back property, right below the cursor,
In here.
right in here. That was an original easement that was deeded to the Broughton property back to this back lot, which is owned by me still.
Now, is that that's map 41, lot 30, George Stevens, Gail Allard,
Yes.
right?
That
So,
was originally intended to be like a right-of-way or easement from the Broughton property. Although it's totally unusable because it's over wetlands. But there's been a lot of question through deeds in the past where that entity actually exists. So my question would be to you guys, why would the new lot line adjustment not go all the way over to the extreme boundary there? Why, and who owns that actual right of way? If Broughton's don't own it, you know, what is the disposition of that rectangle right there, back to that property?
So the property is described in the deed to include that as part of the lot that we own. And also granting a right of way to the Stevens basically to get to that back lot. Was the intention of it, but it's never been used for that.
Right. So that, does that mean that the right of way still exists there and therefore Brotons cannot utilize that space?
Well, they would still, the ownership of the property is still, the Brotons own this parcel, the sliver out to here, back like that. So they own it. The right of way would just give someone rights of access through the property. And I don't know if we came up with a right of way when we did our research. I know we did research in there, and I don't know if we came across that, because it is not labeled as a right of way. I'm not saying that there's not a document or, that had been passed, but we never found anything with our research.
Paul, should we be worried about that?
No, but can I ask a question about it?
Yeah. Hold on.
I think, so let me just, so Sandpeak Lane, as designated on the plan, that seems to be perhaps a right of way that people are talking about. Is that right?
No.
Yes.
Correct. That is.
Sandpeak Lane. Okay, so it looks like when you see the yellow highlighted portion, that part of the Groton's lot crosses over, or Sandpeak Lane, I should say, crosses through that lot anyway. So whatever right of way may or may not exist there is not going to be affected by this boundary line adjustment. Is that right?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. And as far as any type of construction that you're going to be anticipating doing, if that is in fact a legal right-of-way, there may be setbacks involved from right-of-way and so forth. That can be dealt with down the road. But apparently you're going to use that for septic, and whatever requirements you need to meet in order to put the septic there, given that there may be a right-of-way there, that's going to be up to you, the owner, to comply with those. Is that your understanding?
So the septic is going to be located directly behind the new structure. I kind of lost you there. It's not going to impact that right of way that we're discussing.
Okay. So, but this boundary line adjustment will expand your lot. It's almost like if you took that yellow sliver that Frank was asking about and just expanded it over to your boundary line on the Stevens property, you'd be squaring that off and just picking up that extra portion of land. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you just need that in order to accommodate the construction and septic and all of that when you go to replace the house.
Correct.
Okay.
But did I hear you correctly that the new lot that you're creating, you're not going to put the septic system on there?
Yes, we are. It's going to be, I got confused with.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, you are going to put it on there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You're not putting it where the.
I had fear it was.
Right.
That's what I had heard. Okay.
Right. So whatever requirements you have with regard to that septic, and given the layout of this lot, you'll have to just deal with those, whatever they may be, right of way, no right of way, setbacks, no setbacks. As far as we're concerned, for tonight, we're just looking at if you do this lot line adjustment and create lots, can you get a variance so that you can create a lot that has less than 150 feet of shoreline on it, and that's staying the same? So what you do beyond that, you know, in compliance with the state and rights of way and other landowners' rights and so forth, that may impact us to some extent when we go through the worksheet. But if people have objections or whatever, we can hear that from public input.
I have a question, if I may propose at the moment, and this is probably directed to Brad. More so is on the west side of this new lot line adjustment, which is the right of way that is on Broughton's property. Why would that boundary stop there? And why could not the Broughtons use that whole right-of-way rectangle for impervious purposes and septic loading purposes?
Well, actually it does. So the reason this line is in here and this line is in here is because they exist today. So these two lines will be vacated. The new lot will look like this. In other words, but this line exists. So we're going to remove this line and that line, and then it'll all become one lot.
So the actual purchase and sales agreement was based on the square footage of the rectangle. Right there.
Yep.
This line goes away.
But in fact,
that line's gonna
This line goes away, this has this, and this line goes away. This line goes away.
Oh, that
And
line.
this line goes away, so
Okay.
so the lot just becomes this.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah, I got it now.
is the
Yeah.
This line and this line go away, right?
Yeah. This is the new boundary.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
The other two.
owned by Broughton, correct?
All right, I got it. Thank you.
To make it a rectangle lot.
So even though the right of way is in there, that's gonna be one contiguous lot.
Right.
Yes. Right?
Right.
Right. Okay.
And by the way, it is already, because
Making it over
the
30.
right of way goes through his property already.
Right.
So
and
that-
making it over 30,000 square feet.
It's not gonna change.
They're not gonna get to 30,000.
They're not gonna get that.
So that's the other portion of the variance, is they're not gonna get to 30,000 square feet, they're gonna get to 16,000 square feet.
Okay,
Presently at 12,000, they're gonna get to 16.
okay.
And so the variance is kind of twofold. One,
Wow.
for that lot will still be a non-conforming lot for size, for area.
Okay,
And because we're creating two new lots of record, they can't meet the shore frontage, the new shore frontage requirement.
right, which is 150.
Right,
Right.
it's 150.
Instead of
They
75.
can't even meet the old, of 100, but
But one lot does, but the
one
other
lot
one
does
does not.
106, yeah, but the other one is 75. So, so he's gonna have a problem, Broughton has a problem with the lot for two reasons. The inability to get 150 feet of shorefront as required under the new, for lots, created after 1995. And because he can't get 30,000 square feet, but it's really not creating a new lot, it's just a boundary line adjustment for lots that have been in existence since the 70s. And it's so he can do the
And
construction.
so consequently, the Broughton lot becomes more conforming.
Becomes more conforming, and even if, when the house is raised, well,
Still,
it still has to come back before us
at this point,
at
yes.
that point for setbacks.
The other thing that happens too is that the shorefront setback goes from 30 feet to 50 feet.
Because it's a new
Right,
lot.
Because it's a new lot of record. So, yeah, he'll have to replace the house.
Issues there.
Well,
Right.
the main thing will be when he goes to replace the house, he'll have to, we'll have to see where it lands in that building envelope that's about this.
Mhm. Be kind of nice to know that before you do the lot line adjustment, to know if it's feasible.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there tonight, but I would like to
since,
know that
in essence,
before I go this far.
were he to come back to replace the house in the same footprint, it would be a special exception.
Mhm.
So they could put the house on the same
Footprint,
Yes.
but then they still gotta deal with the septic system,
So I've already seen the septic plan for this.
already on the opposite side.
It's gonna be on the
On the opposite
No,
side.
Rob?
But that's not our issue.
That's not our issue.
Right.
Hey, Brad?
Yes,
The septic system is gonna go between the house and Sandpeep Lane, correct?
Yes.
yeah, it's up
Yeah, in
in,
that area. Yeah, because it's wetlands across the street.
Oh, I thought he was putting it on the other side.
Oh,
of the lane.
oh.
I asked that question and
And I got, that didn't get answered correctly, but no,
Oh,
they're just looking for extra land.
they're looking for extra land to have extra area for lot coverage, for
Yeah, I
doing that, that kind of thing. That's what it's for.
it was on the other side.
Yeah, he did, but no, it's
Right.
I've seen a plan, a proposed plan for this, and it's gonna be between the house and, Sandpeep Lane.
All right. Again, that's not our issue tonight. It's strictly the lot line adjustment.
Correct.
Correct.
But to my earlier questions, the reason they were here because of the failure to get 150 feet of shoreline, there's actually two reasons.
Yes.
And by the way, both lots become non-conforming at this point because the lot that's, the Stevens lot that's giving up land is in essence creating a new lot. So now one would say, well, you don't have 150 feet. The Brotons don't have 150 feet, but the Brotons also don't have 30,000 square feet for a new lot, which we require nowadays. But that's if someone is going in with raw land and doing a subdivision.
Yes.
You know, you got 30 acres and you want to create so many lots, they have a minimum size of, 30,000 square feet. These are just, this is really, technically, legally, they're creating two brand-new lots, which is going to mean new zoning laws are going to now apply to them. But in essence, they're really just doing a boundary line adjustment for lots that have existed since before zoning. So the question is, when we go through the worksheet, how do those criteria get affected by what they want to do? And we're only focusing on the creation of two lots that are going to violate two zoning ordinances, shoreline frontage, and one of them is going to violate the square footage requirement. The 1.8 acre lot, no
It's fine.
problem with the 30,000 square
No problem with that.
requirements on that.
I did want to mention, I broke the application into two parts. So there's one for
Yeah,
41 lot 31 and map 41 lot 32. So there's two different narratives, and it's so we're actually applying for both lots.
Right.
Okay, Tom, any questions?
No, there's a lot to step through as everyone's done on this call, but like Paul Manzioni mentioned and Paul Rochelle mentioned, I mean, we're only handling the first step of this, and then there's going to be subsequent steps to go through as they move forward with their project. But it's clarified. I had questions about the wetlands as what it was denoted on the map, and that was spoken to as far as septic, and I'm fine.
Mike, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, gentlemen? All right, we're gonna go to public input. Yep. Okay. So. Okay, we're gonna go to public input. I'm sorry, Brad, do you have anything more you want to add?
I do not, no.
Okay, and the Stevens and Brogan's, nothing more to add?
I actually would just like to make one point.
Sure.
So we, last year in 2019 or 2020, we did a lot line adjustment that added this 1.4 acres behind Sanpete Lane. We annexed that to our property, which only has 106-foot frontage. And we never encountered any kind of situation for a variance because we didn't have 150 feet. So that never came up as an issue.
I guess this would correct that
Yes.
situation at this point, so.
It's an oversight.
That would be what, oversight?
No, it would be an oversight. So, the way it technically works is if you're going to create a brand new lot on the lake, then you have to comply with the requirements of lot size and frontage under the zoning ordinances. And so, and I mean, if you pictured, if somebody could today find, 10 acres of broad land on the lake, and he wanted to create lots, under zoning, those lots would have to have a minimum of 150 feet of lakefront, shoreline. So that's what we require in the town. So technically, when you annexed or did a boundary line adjustment to pick up that extra land, you created a brand new lot, and any brand new lot that's created after March 1995 has to comply with the requirements, which means that brand new lot should have had 150 feet of frontage, but, or you go and get a variance and get permission not to, like you're doing now. So this will, if this is granted, take care of this issue, because the lot that's in front of us, if it will either grant it or not grant it, we'll deal with the lot as it exists.
So I withdraw my point then.
Okay. Are you comfortable at this point?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to go to public input unless somebody else has something else to say. Okay, is there anyone from the public who wants to speak in opposition to this application? Can I ask that question again? Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak in opposition to this application? Hearing none. Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak in favor of this application?
Stevens in favor of this application.
Okay.
Did he say in favor?
In favor.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. There doesn't seem to be. Is there anyone else from the public who wants to speak in favor of this application, other than Mr. Stevens? Okay, haven't heard, not hearing any. I'm going to close the public portion of this hearing. Okay, so now, Brad, is there anything more that you'd like to say before we go to, is there any discussion by the board, I guess?
Well, we can see what. If Brad
Okay,
wants to.
Brad, is there anything more that you want to say, or would you
No,
like
I
us to
think-
go to?
I think I'm all set. I think we've brought out all the points and so I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, then let's go to the worksheet.
Unless it's, anybody want to discuss it or?
Any discussion by Tom, Mike, two Pauls? Anybody have a discussion?
Could we ask Brad to take the shared screen down and we can,
Absolutely. There you go.
that's good. Thank you.
Maybe it would be better to put it up that way I don't have to see Tom and Mike, okay? You know, I'm sorry.
We wanted,
You know, I tell you,
I don't know, I basically, said in the questions and comments I had for the applicants, my understanding of what's being done here. The zoning ordinances are designed to, prevent people from coming in and putting up a million little lots on the lake, you know, because they become valuable and, oh, we can build a bunch of, you know, like, so obviously when, you know, we've been on the zoning amendment committees and we're all familiar with how these changes came to exist in the zoning. And there's concern that on the lake shore, you know, someone's gonna create a brand new lot, they need to have 150 feet of lake frontage. So that maybe you only get to create 2 instead of 3, just because you have a few acres or something. So, and that they should be 30,000 square feet. And I think if the applicant were coming in here tonight with, you know, 10 acres of broad land and asking to have a 75-foot lakefront lot and something that was substantially less than 30,000 square feet, I'd probably vote no on that, unless there was some real compelling reason. But here, we're looking at 2 lots that have been in existence prior to zoning, and the only thing that's happening is a boundary line adjustment to accommodate one of the lots because the owner has some future plan of trying to raise or otherwise remodel the existing home in the future and feels that this extra land will be helpful. And they just want to do a boundary line adjustment for these 2 lots. And I don't think any of that runs contrary to the purpose of our zoning ordinances that require 30,000 square feet or that require 150 feet of lake frontage in this particular case.
and they have to come back for other approval.
Right,
Okay,
right.
you know,
And I think they're gonna be in front of the planning board too, aren't they?
This-
For the
this-
lot,
Yes, the lot line adjustment, they go
Right.
from here to the
to
planning
the
board.
planning board. Yeah. Is this still viewed by the planning board as a form of minor subdivision? Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So they'll have to deal with that.
I don't want to say anything, but we're a kinder board.
But no, but our limited issue, as we go through the worksheet, is if they create these 2 lots, is it a horrible thing that goes contrary to the purpose of our zoning ordinance, and will it mess up the town and the public interest and all that, or what impact will it really have on the purpose of our zoning, ordinances? So,
I don't see how it affects that, okay? Not only that, the surrounding neighborhood, most of it's owned by the Stevens family,
yeah.
okay? The surrounding land, other than, I guess, this Anderson or whatnot. I don't know. Okay, Tom, anything else in discussion? Mike, anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go to the worksheet. Well, somebody else has got something else to say, but, all right. Tom, why don't you start, okay, and then we'll go to Paul.
Okay.
Paul, okay?
Okay, in regards to the criteria of public interest, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Yeah, I guess we're going the other way, Paul LaRochelle, okay?
Okay, I agree, Paul LaRochelle.
Frank Rich, I agree.
Paul Manzioni, I agree.
Okay. All right, since we decided to go that way, Mike, I'm gonna read this out for you. The spirit of the ordinance, okay, the request is or is not in harmony with the spirit of the zoning ordinance, the intent of the master plan, and with the convenience, health, and safety and character of the district within which it is proposed.
I think to echo what Paul Manzione had said just a minute ago, it is in with the spirit of the ordinance, so I would agree.
I agree, Paul LaRochelle.
I agree. Frank Rich?
Paul Manzioni, I agree.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Okay.
Substantial justice. By granting the variance, substantial justice will be done. This is a lot line adjustment to make it less non-conforming for the owner and to also work with New Hampshire DES and with septic system.
Those reasons, I agree.
Frank Rich?
Frank Rich, thank you. Jeez.
Paul Manzioni, I agree, and I think Paul LaRochelle points out a good point, part of this, and that is that one of the lots actually becomes less non-conforming by increasing in size.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Values of surrounding properties. This request
Oh,
Whoops. Damn, we were getting close.
Yeah.
this should only take a minute. They'll be back on.
Okay. It's over here. Correction detail. What did I tell you?
An issue, can you help me?
Okay.
They apologize.
Everybody, we're back on the record here. Small technical difficulty with Zoom. Evidently, we didn't buy enough stock with, values surrounding the properties. This request will not diminish the value of the surrounding properties. This is a lot line adjustment. It's just trying to, the two owners are trying to make it a little bit easier for them to work on the septic and we'll have to come back to for other potential issues, but it will not diminish the value of the surrounding properties as far as I can see.
I agree that the request will not diminish the value of the surrounding properties. There's no evidence that the surrounding properties will be adversely affected, and this lot line adjustment really is going to have virtually no or very little impact on the way the lots have been for many years.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree. Tom, hardship?
Are we going this?
You know, it should be Paul. Paul said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay. I don't mind being overlooked.
I can't believe I just had you dismissed.
Thank you.
It's late, you're tired.
Hardship, Paul Manzioni. For purposes of this subparagraph, unnecessary hardship means that owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, one, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property. And I think that's yes on that, because the general public purpose of the ordinance, I've already described as I view it, is to protect against other types of things. This lot line adjustment is not something that this zoning ordinance was designed to prevent, given these lots have been this way for many, many years. And then second, the proposed use is a reasonable one. The use of this lot is not changing. It's a reasonable use as a dwelling.
Tom Lee, I agree.
Mike Hepworth, I agree.
Paul LaRochelle, I agree.
Frank Rich, I agree. Okay. Can I get a motion? Any discussion? There's no discussion. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we grant the application for variance for case number Z21-03. I was going to say on condition that the applicant receive all appropriate approvals from the state of New Hampshire, including DES.
I'll second that motion.
You need to say anything about the planning board?
No.
No, okay. Okay, you're gonna second the motion? Yes. Okay. All in favor? Paul?
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
That's unanimous.
All right.
Okay, very good. Brad, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Brogan, thank you very much. Okay, we wish you good luck, and
Just a clarification.
we may see you back here again. Okay, and please, good luck. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for your time tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
Good night.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, God, I did a terrible job tonight.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, you did.
Great.
Holy
Excellent.
moly.
All right, so
God. Okay, moving right along. Okay,
oh, excuse me. I'm in a ZBA meeting. I have to call you back. Bye. Bye.
okay, so we have other business, the 2020-21 proposed zoning amendments, proposed amendment number 4 scheduled for the second public hearing.
Just there were some other changes that got made and then we wanted to make sure.
That was that,
This outdoor recreation and so we're trying to clarify,
yeah.
a couple of things we wanted to clarify. So now that the rest of them have already,
You're doing with Zach? Yeah.
yeah, the rest of them have already gone forward, have been voted on to go forward to the warrant.
Oh,
So this is the only, and this one was just some language that they really want to change, and they weren't comfortable making the amount of change without talking to Attorney Cecil to make sure it was a substantive change or not. So this will go to the public hearing this month, which is the 19th, I believe, third Tuesday. And from there, as long as the board's fine with it, it goes to the warrant.
Okay, any questions? Tom, you got anything on that?
No, everything got approved. I will mention, though, I don't have it in front of me, but Paul Manzioni, you had asked for in regards to right of way, and that was struck down by Attorney Sessler on that one point that was brought up by you that we brought forward in the ZAC committee. I don't know if John has the details there, but
Yeah, that was something that I had proposed, and he didn't want that language, so.
Oh, so
But the rest of it,
it
as
wasn't
far as the
Attorney
short-
Manzioni that proposed it? Okay, it was John.
Tell Jim Sessler I'll be suing him in the morning.
there you go.
And because I've had conversations with Attorney Manzioni on this, we should be able to get it in front of a court by 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
No, but some of the language,
Yeah, that was something I added as far as the right of way to the road and whatever. But
right, I
what
thought it was good language.
we did with yours, with the stuff that you talked about, it did get expanded, and it's a lot clearer.
Yeah.
So.
Clarifications were much better.
All right, moving right along.
Are we under previous business?
No, not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, no, we are.
Sorry.
Yeah, we are.
Well, yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Why, you got something?
No, I just think that we, on the public input, we should do in favor, then
First.
opposed.
Well-
And the reason why, and all these things, the applicant has the burden of proof. So all things in favor of the thing go first, and then people who oppose it could go next. Like a criminal case, a civil case, whoever has the burden of proof, all things go first. And then the other thing it does is allows the
Right.
opponent to address all the stuff that they heard in favor, and they go, wait a minute, I want to respond to that. So that's,
You mentioned that the last
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
you
I
did.
just plumb forgot about it.
yeah, no, that's okay.
You
It's
did,
just
you
a
did,
thought, yeah.
okay. And is that in the rules of Roberts? Okay? you know,
Maybe. It could be in the rules of Roberts.
okay, all right.
I think it may be,
Well, look, Jessica bought Robert's rules, so we
Robert's
can
rules.
take
Okay.
a look.
which we don't
Could
fully
you,
follow.
could you
but-
check that out, Mr. Dever?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, because I wanna make sure that we're doing it appropriately. Okay?
Here's the other thing that, under previous business, or maybe it's under new business, that I would, raise, and I don't know, how we deal with this, but if you notice, like in the zoning ordinances that we dealt with tonight, special exception, for the last one or whatever, it has its own criteria, right? It was
Yeah.
under that, and it has its own criteria. But it says, in addition, and we drafted it this way, in addition to the regular special exception criteria under 520, the applicant also has to satisfy these criteria,
That's right.
and then there are those extra criteria, right? But the worksheets only have us address the 520 regular criteria that apply to all special exceptions. I wonder in a case where they're applying for a special exception, where there are 5 or 6 additional criteria just for that type of special exception, whether we have to, and you always lay them out for us anyway, whether when we go through our questions and answers, we do the 520 criteria, and then I wonder if we should also address the 3 or 4 or 5, however many additional ones there are, and answer those questions that they meet those. I don't know, I'm
Yeah,
just
I don't,
tossing it
'cause
out.
I know, that those are always addressed as part of the discussion back,
Right.
during the course of the hearing. And we say, okay, yeah.
Right.
And we have usually walk through them
We usually
anyway.
walk through them anyways, I
Yeah.
agree,
Yeah.
I agree, but
Legality issue?
Do you think it's a legal thing that we would
I
have to
don't
have
know, I don't know, I
separate
mean, that's a
sheet
good,
for?
Is it legal?
I wonder if we should ask Sessler on that.
But I'll tell you, to the extent that they are addressed, that the board considers them, then everything we've done is fine, as long as the board's considering them. The worksheet is really just a method by which we get there, so it's really for our benefit, as long as we're addressing,
But if there
although
are,
the statute does.
but if there are 2 different sections, don't you think we should vote on each one of those?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
I
that's
just
why I
tossed
asked
it
if
out.
the legality is that we've always done it that way. Is that an issue? That we've
I
done
don't think it would
incorrectly?
be, I don't think it we've done anything incorrectly, because like John points out, we've always worked through those criteria anyway. So the board has given due consideration to the criteria that the applicant has to meet. We just haven't had them on the worksheet where we take a vote and go,
Okay, so let's take it one step further.
yeah,
If there was something that we agreed upon and let's say we voted for it on one section, but there was another part of another section that it was something that we might not agree on.
right. I know,
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I do.
That would
yeah.
be a time to have the other criteria in there.
I mean, there's no question that the applicant has to meet those additional criteria. There's no question.
Right.
It says, and that the applicant has to meet the 520 criteria also. So
they
the
gotta
question
meet,
for
they gotta
us,
meet both.
they have to meet all of them. So the question for us is, on those types of applications, should the worksheet include those 5 or 6 additional besides the regular 520 that are on our standard worksheet? Should those other 5 or 6 things also be on there in the form of a question that the board votes on, and we make a determination whether the applicant has met all of the necessary criteria? I don't know. I think that's assessment.
That's a valid,
Yeah,
It's a good question.
I
think it's assessment
think
question.
it's a Cecily kind of
Because
question.
I don't do strictly municipal land use stuff, but, so it's not my area, but, I think that,
No, I think it's a good point, Paul.
It's a good point. I just am concerned if we start something now, is it an issue with what we have already approved?
well, I would.
That's what I'm afraid.
I would say no, only from the standpoint that we could demonstrate that the board has always had those criteria. We've considered them and gone through them, but there hasn't been.
yeah, because you always do, you know,
Right.
like 320J is the replacement, you
Right,
know,
that's
and
what
you
we
go
dealt
through.
with today, for example.
We go through you always walk down
Right.
through because the applicants also have to answer those questions.
Yeah,
You know, are you increasing the nonconformity? Are you
Right.
creating new nonconforming aspect? You know, that kind of thing. The applicants have to address each one of
Right.
those as a matter of course during the application.
yeah,
So, I don't know, I will ask.
yeah.
It's a good question.
Ask it.
It's a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else that anybody would like to talk about on previous business?
And by the
Okay,
way,
or can I
I'll talk to
turn-
Jim. if
can I
he
turn the
wants to.
page?
Quickly,
Good
yes,
Lord.
please. So,
New business.
yeah.
Is there any new business?
any?
John?
I don't know, is there? How do I do my thing? No.
What a shame. Okay. Anybody else got any new business? Mike Hepworth and I, 3 months ago, we did our first batch of limoncello, and it's now aged and ready to go.
Oh, okay, so I was gonna say, that's old business.
To add one thing to new business is, the master plan committee has met, we met last night, and we'll be meeting again on the 27th. And, in February, I want to say the 3rd. Moving along, everything that we've gone through, visions. We've done, questions and answers and going through the vision portion of the master plan. We've all had a little assignment to go through each and every paragraph in the visions and decide, and made a decision by looking at it to see if we agree with what's there. Do we want to discuss it and change it, or take it out? So see, these are some of the things that's our next assignment that we're gonna discuss. Also discussing putting out the, RFP for the consultant and to see how many we can get. And we're discussing and also talking about how we're gonna do the interviews. And which method of how we're gonna do the interviews, whether we'll do it as a full board or have members of the board with people at large. So these are some of the things that we're gonna be doing, so it's moving along.
Great. Good. Keep us informed,
I will.
because it sounds like me, Monzioni, is not gonna show up.
It's been the 2 of the 5 or
Okay,
so
and
meetings.
you wanna know something? If we get the information from him, it will be a 6-hour dialogue, okay? Okay, next approval of minutes, ZBA minutes meetings on December 3rd. I'm gonna have to excuse myself on this because I was not present, and I apologize to the group for not being there, but you know what they say,
You were missed dearly.
nobody missed me, I'm sure.
Said you were missed dearly.
Oh, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2020.
I'll second that motion, Tom Lee.
Okay, all in
Paul
favor?
Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye.
Tom Lee, aye.
Mike Hepworth, aye.
And Chairman Lee, Vice Chair Lee, I understand you did an outstanding job, okay? And it's just, having read these minutes, it just went so smoothly, okay, I couldn't believe it. Thank you.
It's all due to your very good tutelage.
Okay, and I got some swampland and, geez, John, did we get any correspondence?
Well, actually, you know.
Wait a minute.
Member Monzioni has some correspondence.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I went in today, the other day, and I said, John, if there's no correspondence at the next meeting, I think I'm gonna be through. So I did get a letter. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Aside from that, that's it.
That's it?
Okay, and everybody has got their meeting schedule, you know.
For the upcoming year.
Yes, we do. Yep.
Okay, all right.
It was in there with all
All
your
right,
stuff.
good, and it's in my packet.
It's in your package. Okay, I could certainly entertain a, adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
I second it.
Oh, good, thank you, Tom, okay?
No,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, roll call.
Paul Manzioni, aye.
Frank Rich, aye.
Paul LaRochelle, aye, and Happy New Year.
Tom Lee, aye.
Tom?
Mike Hepworth,
Mike?
aye.
Guys, thank you, okay? And it's good seeing everybody. I'm glad everybody's healthy.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, I'm hoping 2021 is a much different year. Holy moly.
Me
Let's
too.
hope so.
Have a good night.
Take care, guys. Good
See ya.
seeing you both.
So long.